Well, here we are with Gerard Batten, the interim leader of UKIP. I'm Richard Inman from Veterans Against Terrorism. Basically, we're here tonight to celebrate what I think is going to be a very profitable and good relationship between Veterans Against Terrorism and UKIP. And just want to ask Gerard, how did you hear about Veterans Against Terrorism, and why is this happening? What's the background to this?
Right, okay. Well, last October, I didn't see it on the TV news, I have to say, but a friend of mine, good friend of mine, tweeted something about the march in London, where I believe you got about 30,000 people out.
Yep.
And I looked at it and I thought, wow, why isn't that on the TV news? So I rang up my friend and said, what's going on? He's somebody I've known for many years and I trust.
Dixon?
That's right,
yeah.
Cliff Dixon. And he said to me that he'd been on this march and he told me about the Veterans Against Terrorism and the football lads. And, you know, having known Cliff all that time and trusted him, I said, are they okay? You know, they're not anything a bit dodgy? He said, no, they're fine. So I said, well, how about putting me in touch then? So, as you know, I met with you and another chap before Christmas. We had a very good meeting. I set up another meeting for, I think there were 6 or 8 of you at that meeting, wasn't there?
Yep.
Including the UKIP chairman from Norfolk, Dave Moreland.
Yep.
And we had a very good meeting in London, went on for about 2 hours. We discussed our relative positions and aims, and we decided that we thought we could cooperate together. One of the things that I spoke to Richard and the other chaps about right from the start was, I understand what your aims are. You're against terrorism and there's other things you'd like to put right in the country, but you won't do that with marches. Marches are great because it shows that you're strong and you're solid, but politically people ignore marches. The politicians ignore marches. If you remember, how many people went out on the anti-Iraq war march?
A million people.
Yeah. Did it make any difference?
Not a bit.
No, it doesn't make any difference. The only thing that politicians care about, especially when they're in government, is losing votes, having votes taken away from them by other parties. So you don't have to win elections to actually have a big effect, because UKIP actually took us 25 years, but we won the we actually brought about the referendum, and then our people...
Well, I would say you won it. I mean,
well, yeah.
I think UKIP had such a huge influence on the dynamic of politics that if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't have got a referendum. And then the British people, being the British people, decided that enough's enough, let's get out of the EU, and that's another reason that we're talking to UKIP, because obviously we're very worried not just about terrorism and about the Islamisation of the UK, which is a huge problem, but we're also very, very worried that we're not going to get a proper Brexit deal. And the only political party, I think, and I'm not a politico, but I'm just a normal guy that's looking at this, as are all the other vets and the football lads. I really want to mention the football lads because they've done a lot in this. But our movement realised that we need Brexit, we need immigration controls, we need someone who's not going to be afraid to talk about the problems within Islam. We're not against Muslim people, but we're against extremist Islam and all the problems it's causing. And when we met up with Gerard, we realised that Gerard shared our concerns. He's a working class man, he's a man of the people, he's just the same as us, there's no airs or graces. We're sitting here having a pint, and this isn't staged, we're sitting here because we like having a pint together. And you know, I've got to know Gerard over the last 3 to 4 months, and I think I'm a fairly good judge of character, and I think we've got an honest broker here, and that's what the country needs. We need people who are real people, who are straight talking people, who represent the forgotten people. I mean, we are the forgotten people.
Well, this is it. I mean, I got involved in politics kind of by accident. You know, I go back to 1993. I've always been opposed to Britain's membership of the EU, and your older viewers may remember that was when the Maastricht Treaty came along. And I looked at this and I thought, I can't believe this is happening. I've got to do something about it. I joined up a little organisation called the Anti-Federalist League, which I thought was going to be a big organisation. I found it was a very small organisation, and I found myself at the top. So that's my recipe for success in politics: get in at the top and stay there.
Yeah, join a small organisation and wait till it grows.
Wait till it gets big. But no, I mean, I got involved in that. That grew into UKIP. I've ended up as an MEP for London, and now I find myself, as of a week ago, the interim leader of UKIP, and I'm very keen to put UKIP in a new direction. Well, not a new direction, but to build on the direction we've already got. We are in difficulties at the moment, but they're difficulties that can be solved on a practical level. We need money coming in, we need more members coming in, and then we'll be in a position of strength.
If I could talk on a positive note about UKIP, what I've been really impressed with, and I hope I'm allowed to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway, so if it gets people in trouble, there's nothing I can really do about that. But we met yesterday with the NEC of UKIP. Now, I've been to many, many committee meetings in different organisations that I've been involved in, and committee meetings are normally talking shops where people want to be heard and there's nobody listening. Yesterday we went to a committee meeting, the National Executive Committee of UKIP. Those people sat and gave us respect. I'm talking about the veterans. There's 3 veterans who went to speak to them. They gave us respect, they listened, they stood and applauded us when we finished speaking, and they accepted everything that we're saying. So if you're a veteran watching this, you've got to realise that UKIP is a party that is 100% behind our aims, behind the aims of Veterans Against Terrorism. And if you're a football lad watching this, I can absolutely guarantee you, we met people in the House of Lords yesterday, senior UKIP members who are 100% behind the aims of the football lads and Veterans Against Terrorism. They share our concerns and they see the potential in this working class people's movement, and there's huge potential there. And I think the thing about UKIP is, what I've found when I've been talking to these guys, talking to Gerard, talking to Neil Hamilton and others, they tell it like it is. They're not mincing the words, and that's what the British people want to hear. They want a party that's going to tell it like it is. We're sick of the mainstream, and I think the majority of people are sick of the mainstream. It's just they don't think they've got anywhere else to go. Well, UKIP's the place to go, but as Gerard said earlier, there are problems, and the problem can only be solved by people joining and putting their hands to the plough and getting behind this party that's already delivered a vote for Brexit. We haven't delivered Brexit yet. We've delivered a vote for Brexit, and we'll deliver a lot more for the ordinary working people of this country. And that's why I'm so excited about it. I really am.
If I can reiterate a bit of what Richard said, because we do have very similar aims. We want to bring about a proper Brexit, a real unencumbered exit from the EU. We want controls on immigration. We're not opposed to some immigration, but we want controlled and limited immigration, not uncontrolled and unlimited immigration. We're very concerned about the growth of literalist and extremist Islam in this country and how it's changing our culture. And we want to see an economy that's run for ordinary people, so that they've got jobs, they've got homes, they've got a decent standard of living. And what I'd like to see also is a kind of what I would describe as positive patriotism. We don't want to put anyone else down. We don't want to work for the detriment of any other country. But can we start feeling proud about this country again? Instead of our media and our education system telling kids that they should be ashamed of their history, let's actually say there's a lot to be proud of, a great deal to be proud of about what we've achieved in this country over centuries, what we've given to the world. And a great deal of the ability to do that has been because of the quality of our armed forces. And we want to, in fact, when I wrote the UKIP defence policy paper a long time ago, some years ago, one of the key things in that was honouring the covenant with the armed forces, so that we look after people when they come out of the armed forces. And that's one of the key things that we want to do. Now, just to finish off and say that if you want to change things in this country, you have to do it through the ballot box. There is no other way of doing things. Now, Richard rightly pointed out, it was UKIP that brought about the referendum. It was UKIP that actually won the referendum with boots on the ground. Not just us, but it was mostly UKIP with other well-wishers and people on our side of the argument. But we achieved that. Now there is nothing the political establishment would like more than to see the end of UKIP, so that we're off the scene and there's no opposition. Well, we don't feel that we're prepared to do that. We're struggling to survive at the moment. But we don't want to disappear from the scene. We want to come back bigger and stronger than before, which is why I'm offering this invitation to members of the veterans, the football lads. We would like you to come and join us. It's your choice. You may not want to get involved in politics, but I want you to carefully consider. You can either make a difference through the ballot box, or you're not really going to make a difference at all. If people go and vote in Labour, Conservative Labour, they're going to get what they've had for decades and nothing's going to change. So it's your choice. All I can do is offer you the opportunity to try and change things, just the way that we've tried to change things over the years. So please come and join us. I hope you will, and we can look forward to a great, successful future together.
And if I could just add something there, unity is absolutely vital. We need to unify people in our movement to get behind one political party. There's lots of little fragmented parties. As far as I'm concerned, they need to disappear, they need to go away, or they need to rejoin UKIP. UKIP's the only show in town. Unity is absolutely vital. And I want to finish on the catchphrase of Veterans Against Terrorism. Stand fight and protect. Stand for UKIP, fight politically for UKIP, and you'll be protecting the United Kingdom. Thank you.
You didn't frankly have the balls to put country before party.